Welcome to Popcorn Chicken. Almost said the wrong chicken-themed podcast title. Where we're doing, we're back to American Gods. We got a little off track there. I was sick last week. Some other people were sick last week. We really need to stop sharing cups to prevent that from happening. So we're more available to do our weekly. Hey, this is what we watched on American Gods. We're doing episode 4, so there's no episode 3. We'll do a quick recap at the beginning because. Who doesn't want to talk about Genie Tyrannosaurus Rex penis? But we're doing Get Gone. Get Gone is the name of episode 4. Joining me is the mind blower himself, Scott. Say hi, Scott.
How's it going?
All right, and Wilson unfortunately had a picnic with Anubis, and I don't know when we're gonna see him again. Apparently, his heart way heavier than a feather. So before we go into Get Gone, we'll go back to episode 3. Few key things that I just wanted to touch on. One was Mr. Wednesday saying that he was the worst thing he could imagine is not being remembered. Mm-hmm. Super profound because that seems to be the motivation of probably all of these gods, and him verbalizing it, I think, hitting said nail on head. The other thing was Shadow's ability to make it snow.
Which, if you think about it, makes so much sense. Real quick interjecting here, because every time that he had a moment, the clouds would roll in. When he was in prison and he was talking about it, the clouds were rolling in because that's what he was feeling. When they were driving on the road going to wherever they were going to, the clouds started rolling in. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah. The Mr. Sweeney's now unlucky. And I'm going to give a lot of kudos to the show, generally speaking, for having that gay sex scene. By the way, not a single episode so far without sex in it. Because the whole thing with the djinn, and djinns are genies and also desert demons. Like, they're both things. They've turned into, like, the pop culture that they're genies, which is why he's like, we don't grant wishes because that's what you think they are. But djinns are actually desert demons. That's actually where they originated from. So that whole thing, because the reason I think it's both for a few reasons is that, like, I talked to Lopez, right? Yeah. And he said he needed some time to recover from that. And I was watching it with my wife, and she literally turned to me. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah. Why wouldn't it be okay? It's just two Middle Eastern men who are now semi-transparent." Doing the butt nasty in the desert, right? And all that was totally cool, but what the reason I think it was so bold is because I feel like you immediately end, just so you know, if you're from this part of the country, up yours, I'm sticking to my guns. You totally isolate middle America by throwing in like a gay sex scene. Like, you totally go, hey, a third of America in which these gods are allegedly. And then you just go, boom, man on man, hot mustache stuff. And I'm tapping out. I'm never coming back to the show again. I mean, that combined with the multiple Jesus Christ discussion of the car wash, where he went Mexican Jesus, Asian Jesus, like that whole thing. I'm like, man, you're really banking on cutting out a very large part of America with that. And then finally, my last point on that is that oddly enough, like, so many people watch Game of Thrones, and I know that a lot of Game of Thrones people are watching American Gods right now, and I feel like that a lot of them would have tapped out at that gay sex scene, but they were probably all totally okay with the brother on sister sex that was happening in Game of Thrones. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up hypocrisy flags. Anything you want to talk about episode 3 before we move on to episode 4 since we missed it?
No, I really enjoyed the whole robbery thing that they did.
Oh,
thought
that
was pretty funny.
Good. That was so good.
On the whole djinn thing, I think the entire time I was watching it, I was going, oh, this is happening. Oh, this is happening. Oh, okay. All right. No, this is really happening.
Happening.
We're really, wow. Yeah. The towel's coming off. Like, there was nothing. It was just, that was another one of those scenes where I was like, I wasn't ready for this. I was not ready for this. This was not mentally, and whatever. But I'm trying to think real quick. The other thing was the Sweeney thing. I liked how, that whole interaction at the end of the episode where he was like, "You got to go find it," you know, and it kind of left it open door where he was digging the grave and
Yeah.
found the hole in the thing. Um, yeah, it was a good episode. It was a good episode.
So yeah, so then that ends with Mrs. Moon, Laura Moon. Sorry, I had to look it up. I keep referring to her as Mrs. Moon. I wrote a minute movie script already. I kept referring to her as Mrs. Moon. I'm not gonna change it. So Mrs. Moon, you end episode 3 with her being alive. So you start off episode 4, and it goes into a backstory. And I don't know how you feel, but I really was bored for the first 20 minutes of that
Yeah,
episode. I was like, this origin story, this just regular romance thing, or hey, and they were like, hey, they met in a gambling thing, and then their lives got really boring, and I was like, yeah, this boring life you guys produced it's boring to watch. So I don't know whether we should applaud them for great direction and acting for really selling their boring fucking life to me.
So a couple things that went through my mind was like this was a complete like slowdown of the series, right? Like it was complete like well we're going. Well, let's slow it down because we don't want anything to go too fast, that kind of thing. And that's exactly what I was thinking the whole time I was watching this. I was like, I'm so used to like weird shit happening all the time that now I'm kind of like, okay, we're going slower this one. And two is that she looks miserable all the time. Like she's all the time.
So I think what they were kind of going for was trying to make her somewhat sympathetic, right? Because she was introduced to us as died blowing his best friend,
Yes, that's
right?
true.
That's how it was introduced to her, and really what they wanted to show instead was it starts to, and I know, boring. She starts off trying to commit suicide with bug
Gone,
spray.
bug gone,
Yeah,
gone,
get gone,
get gone.
which is what the
It's
title
the name of the episode.
episode, right? And then she can't, and then for anyone planning committing suicide, it's very difficult to be suicide in a fashion in which you can escape, because your instinct to live will overpower your ability to stay breathing chemicals if you don't put something heavy into it. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just telling you that's why that's an ineffective way of suicide, which is why pills are so effective,
Really
because once it's in, it's stomach pump or bust. So you got that, but it's that pattern of like her clear depression and mental illness that I think was supposed to make it seem like, oh, that's why she's blowing Dane Cook. Not that not that she's like a fucking two-timing bitch. Is that no? She has problems. She got so bored with life where she was like, hey, let's do that thing you wanted to do the first day you met me, and not the gin butt stuff. I mean, rob the casino, and then I was a little disappointed they didn't show the robbery. Were you?
Right. I was like, all right, here comes a heist. Right. Here comes what the heck was the name of it? Ocean's 11 or
Yeah.
something. Like here it comes, and it doesn't come.
Yeah, and it's like, how'd you get caught? I'm like, yeah, how'd you get caught? I would have loved to have seen that. What an interesting question. How did one get caught? So that was great, and honestly, it stayed at kind of like that mundane pace, and you knew the answers for that first 20 minutes. You already knew the answers. You know that when they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna rob the casino," it's like, all right, well, he's not gonna successfully rob it. The series starts with him in jail, so okay. Next scene. Dane Cook shows up. All right, this is where they start fucking. Okay. Next scene. Then it's like, oh, we're calling. I'm like, okay, this is where she blows them and they die. And then that's when the show picked up. That is when I got back into my American Gods comfort zone of surreal, weird shit going on. And I got excited again.
So I feel like they showed. You remember in the beginning of the third one, who was the guy who came and got that woman?
Anubis. That was
Anubis, okay.
Egyptian god of the dead.
I thought that was it, right? And when they showed that, when I watched that in the beginning of the third one, I was kind of confused. Like I kind of understood it, but I was kind of confused, and it was one of the, like we say this all the time, just with the what the heck, the chick that eats people through her vagina,
Bilquis.
Bilquis, right? Same thing with that. When they drop like a little thing, and then they leave it alone. They don't talk about it anymore.
Right.
And all of a sudden it comes back, and you're like, wait, this is the guy from before who was doing a thing, and now I know how it goes, so I know what's gonna happen. With the scales and all that shit. So that was kind of like, and then I started realizing the way the show is working. They're doing all these little drops. If you see something in the show and it makes no sense and relates to nothing else in the episode, that means there's going to be an episode coming up where it's going to be relatable.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job of closing the loops. The most interesting thing, though, just lore wise, of the way they did it, because I thought they nailed Anubis in the third episode, and bringing him back so soon made me feel super happy because I'm a huge fan of most Egyptian lore. I'm not like deep into it, but a lot of the surface level Ra and Thoth and Anubis and stuff like that. The big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Totally think is really cool. And when he came back the second time, so the first time he shows up in episode 3, he's at a Muslim woman's house.
Mm-hmm.
She's Egyptian, but she's Muslim. And in talking to her, she's like, "Why are you here? You're an Egyptian god of the dead, and I'm totally like Muslim now." And he was like, "Yeah, but people told you about me, so I'm here. Let's go walk up some steps." In this one, he gets Laura now. Anubis gets Laura, but Laura believed in nothing. Like that was one of the pillow talk things that they were putting out. I believe in nothing. So, but Anubis shows up to judge the dead because there's levels of things happening so far in this show, right? So this brings me back like into the theory of American gods. You have all these gods. They're gonna fight, right? They're at the very least involved with some type of proxy war, and Shadow is at least presumably a human pawn in the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you got Anubis doing Anubis stuff, right? Like he's quite literally doing his job,
Mm-hmm.
which is God of the dead. He's doing dead people stuff, and he's doing it to people who don't even believe in him, right? So the first lady he picked up was like, "Hey, yeah, but you know about me, so I'm gonna send you to push you in the elevator shaft," right? She believed in nothing, still got judged by Anubis. So is that how he's Bilquising, right? So Bilquis is sucking people into her to get her worship on. Like, is he just scooping up souls before anyone notices in order to get his Anubis on? So it's like, hey, I'm still relevant. I'm Anubising people. Or is it just
Using it as a verb.
Yeah, you can Anubis somebody. I'll Anubis the shit out of somebody, dude. So that part really fascinated me. I'm like, why is he showing up to scoop up white girls in the Midwest? Like, this is not, like, this isn't Anubis' territory. So I'm like, is this gonna fight a god? Because there's like tons of gods of the dead, right? I mean, of all the pantheons and all the deities, everyone always has a god of the dead. So I'm like, it'd be cool to see some god of the dead beef going on later down the line. She was a total bitch to Anubis. I mean, I get it. He's here to judge you. But then she bails out. But this other thing happened, right? The way time works, from like your death and being with Anubis, right? So when that lady died in the third episode, Anubis grabs her and goes, "Your family will come shortly, and they'll give you a good burial, and happiness, whatever. Your body's gonna be okay." When he gets Laura and takes her to his picnic area, on top of that mountain, he goes, "They've already scraped up your body, and they've already cut out your organs, and they've already picked a wonderful dress for you to wear in your coffin." And I'm like, dude, how's time working for you? Like, time is working so weird. Like, you just scooped her up and you just fast forwarded to the future. She died, right? I mean, real world. You die, they scoop up your body, they do an autopsy, they give you to back to the family. Then then your funeral's like a week later, right? I mean, from you dying to you being buried is a week. They weren't even up there for an hour. So there's this whole temporal thing happening that I thought was pretty cool. And then she just bails on him because a coin hit her, and that also didn't happen in real time, right?
That was
Because
a.
that almost the next day she got back to her body that night. That was it the same night or the next day?
I thought it was that night,
It was
wasn't it?
that night, right? So she wasn't instantly crawling out of that dirt. It was that evening. So at the very least 12 hours later. The sun was down, right? I mean, you bury people in the morning.
It could have been like 2 in the morning when they were there, though.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
true. That was that scene where she gets ripped out was really weird, like not expected.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
just
I
like, so
but it was followed up by answering a question you had like 2
which
weeks
was
ago for episode 2. How did Shadow get down from the rope?
right. Yeah, so that was that was such an hilarious scene. Is she's like, oh no, I'm gonna punch this guy. Wait, what? My hand went through him. It was just kind of like okay, it's crazy, but yeah, no, that definitely answered that question. Definitely, that whole like can't think of the movie or the reference where there's like one scene happens, but all this other stuff comes into play. I don't know how they keep track of it, but like just to have it so that down the road, all of a sudden you understand how this happens and
Yeah.
how this all ties in. I love that stuff because in your head, it's like when the neural pathways finally connect, and you're like, oh, this is all connected and everything. So and that's the one thing I love about this show is that everything I see, whether I get it or don't get it, I know at some point it's going to have some kind of referencing point, and it's going to make sense in my head. So like this with the cutting down of the of what's his name,
Shadow.
Shadow. Yeah, there it is. And then the whole Walking Dead part, I like that part.
Yeah.
That was so good.
So okay, so here's the thing, right? And this is the big question because you know how the episode's gonna end, right? Because of the way the last episode ended, which meant the episode's gonna end in the exact same fashion. Her sitting on the bed going, "Hi, puppy." Now she is totally a zombie. Like she's straight up a zombie, right? But she's
Carry
not
on.
like eat your brain zombies, right? So she has that whole thing with the arts and crafts with fucking Dane Cook's girl, which was really funny. Like it provided some levity to whatever was just kind of generally dark and thing. And the show has a lot of that, especially with Mr. Wednesday's dialogue and him talking.
Making out with old women.
Yeah, things like that to lighten the mood of all this heavy shit going on. And then she shits out all the embalming fluid, priceless, right? But it all leads up to them now meeting in that room, and the question of questions is, are you fucking a zombie?
I know, right?
Right? Because I mean, that's like that's where she has the Y scar, and she has the new thing, and then Anubis shows up and Totally America tops models her, and helps her get pretty, which is really weird.
I know.
So there was this line after she died, which again I'm gonna for to henceforth call the point where the episode got interesting, where she's being catty with him, and he's like, "I'm Anubis, bitch. I'm going to serve you your deathness, and I don't care of what you have to say. I've killed so many people. Do you understand? Do you understand who I am? I'm never gonna remember your name when I leave." And then when they meet up later, and at I'm gonna assume it was a funeral home where they were putting her back together.
Yeah.
It had the funeral home vibe, where he goes, "You interest me, and you'll remember." But he also was like, "I'm gonna come get you later. I could get you." It's almost like you escape from prison, and then the prison guard goes, "Listen, I'm gonna let you have lunch, okay? Because I mean, let's face it, you got me. You
was pretty
bamboozled
impressive.
me. You know, you deserve something. I'm gonna get you. I got you. I'm looking at you, watching you the whole time." Now I don't know if you noticed he was with somebody, right? So
Yeah, the dog that turns, or no, was he the dog?
he's a dog. So Anubis, god of the dead, depicted as a jackal and a dog. That's how he's normally depicted. Stargate, if you watch Stargate, the people wearing the dog helmets were depicting Anubis. Sure. Okay, so the person he was with is credited as being Mr. Ibis. Another thing, and I don't know if I hate or if it's part of the fun. I haven't figured it out. that they credit people without ever saying their names, right? Like Media and Technical Boy. I had to look them up in the credits because they were referred to by their names, or the Technical Boy might have been referred to his name. And you know, Media might have gone on Media too, but I might not have registered that as their actual name. So I had to look it up. So they might have said Mr. Ibis, I just meant it. Anyway, Mr. Ibis is Thoth, right? Ibis references the Ibis bird. Thoth is one of the big Egyptian gods, or I say big, more popular Egyptian gods. He has a book called the Book of Thoth, is the Book of Knowledge, and then also the Book of the Dead, which makes sense as he's hanging out with Anubis. So he's like the dude. He should have all the information of the world in that book, depending on like which legends you hear about him. I mean, it's a few. Sometimes they're like, "Hey, he's the science guy," and the one I'm most familiar with is that he holds the Book of the Dead and the Book of Knowledge, and it's called the Book of Thoth, and that's what it is. So I thought it was cool that they threw him in there, and that he's hanging out with Anubis because that makes sense. All right, who else would be his friend? I don't think anybody else would be his friend. All right, it's got to be the dude who's hanging out with all the dead people too. It's like, hey, who's gonna die? I got it right here. I wrote it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a working relationship.
It's interesting that I really was curious what who the other guy was. I don't know why that's racking in my brain right now. But yeah, I forgot where I was going to go with that. Sorry. Just
While you think of that, I'll throw some more Egypt stuff, right? So Ibis is a bird head, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't want anyone to confuse him with the other bird head god, which is Ra, who's like Egyptian Zeus. Not that he's about lightning, but because he's like the granddaddy of the gods. So Ra is like a small head bird, and then Ibis is like a long neck bird. And then
were these in that? Were these in the sidetrack here? Real quick. What was the Mummy movie? Was this all in the Mummy movie? These gods?
No, the Scorpion King was in it though.
I know the Scorpion King. I smell what the Scorpion King was cooking.
I was gonna say Rocky Maivia in terrible CGI was in it. I did not retain a lot of the Mummy movies. Is that weird? I didn't.
A little bit.
It doesn't register. I'm gonna wait for Tom Cruise's unnecessary reboot.
With him running, it's always him running.
Anyway, running. Because when he runs, you don't realize how short he is.
No, you do not. So we see them meet up. Laura and Betty. They're driving along. They see the two guys. They take them to the parlor. Fix her up. Says blah 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 blah. And then is that before or after she goes and saves Shadow, where she sees him as the light?
That is right? After. So she saves Shadow. Her arm falls off, and then she leaves because she's got to get that arm reattached.
Love to stay in chat. So I thought that was interesting going back real quick because I started thinking about it, right? So he drops the coin on, right? And we can kind of assume that that's the reason why she came back to life because they burned all the way through the casket. But my question is, where is the coin? I wonder if it fell into her. And then now that they sealed it up, it's inside of her, the coin. Just curious. And the coin had a sun on it. And then the chick on the roof gave him a coin with the moon on it. Remember that? Right.
In episode 3,
right.
Yes.
So what I'm wondering is, does she see him as the light because he had I don't know, for some reason, for something like that. But I don't know. That kind of stuff.
But he did not have that coin.
He didn't have the coin. That's true.
In the scene where he was hanging from the tree, but she's clearly now connected to him because she has a beacon. She can just see him from anywhere. So there's something going on there, whether it's because he touched a coin or whatever. Of course, the fact that they were in an Egyptian-themed casino, just thematically, like that was one of the big themes. The other thing to notice is that the ravens following the car.
Yes, two.
When he dies, the raven, of course, is Odin's symbol, right? That's where his other eye is. His other eye is in a raven, so he can spy around and about. The other thing was the flies. right? She tries to kill herself using. She kills flies at the beginning. She tries to kill herself using the fly spray, and now she's a zombie surrounded by flies. Um, the thing with the coin, what I took away from the coin is yes, I do believe the coin is inside her in some way or another. But the bigger thing I took away is that is Mad Sweeney's power. His power is the lucky coin. In the episode prior to that, right, in episode 3, when he is woken up in the stall by the lady with the shotgun, and she's like, "I'm gonna shoot ya," and I'm paraphrasing. He goes, "You're not gonna shoot me. The gun will jam. Or at worst, it'll backfire and you lose 2 fingers." And then she's able to shoot the gun successfully. Then she gets in the car with the guy from the Kids in the Hall, and he gets a pipe through his head, and it's because he doesn't have his lucky coin. He is now unlucky, meaning that the thing that was giving him power was the lucky coin, allowing no one to really fuck with him too badly.
So why did he give it away? Didn't he give it to Shadow?
Yeah, it was an accident. He pulls a bunch of coins out of his pocket. Remember? And he's like, "Oh, fuck." He's like, "None of these are my lucky coin." So him fucking around doing coin tricks and to give Shadow one of his gold coins, he gave him the wrong coin, which is how it is. So clearly that has powers. So that power is definitely what brought her back to life. I totally missed out on that coin symbolism on the sun and the moon coin. Good catch. Mind blower. You did it again. But overall, I'm really, because they really did lose me in the first 20 minutes. I was really disappointed. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
It's just there hasn't been gay sex,
stuff.
right? I mean,
yeah, I'm like, when are they gonna fucking sword fight?
So somebody's gonna fuck somebody at this point.
Yeah, so I was out. You never did answer the question if you were banging the zombie, but it's okay. I'm gonna let you slide on that. I want to take the last few minutes of the episode to talk to a certain group of people. All right, and this is gonna sound really weird, but people who have read the books, fuck off, okay? It's cheating. It's cheating. It's reading. It's doing the read ahead, right? So I have a very deep philosophy when it comes to things that were books and are now movies. They're 2 different mediums. They're experience different, and the only thing that you're gonna achieve by being so married to the books and comparing it to the TV is that you're gonna be mad when they take a different direction. Okay? Because I haven't read the books, but I doubt the book went, "and slow motion rain fell while he was hung from a tree." I doubt it said the word slow motion rain. Alright? I doubt it said she kicked the skeleton right out of his nards. I doubt it said that. It's a different thing, okay? And we're doing TV theory stuff. And I'm not saying don't read. Read, please read. Books are amazing. I write books. I want people to read books I write one day. I read books. But I just go for comic book people too. Don't read a comic book and then see a movie about a comic and go, "It didn't match one for one." Go fuck yourself. That's not what it's made for. That's not the design. Different mediums require different things. And don't spoil our fun trying to solve these mysteries going, "Well, the book said this." Alright, that's it. I'm good. Those fucking people. Those fucking people are the worst.
You feel better now?
No, because the Game of Thrones people never fucking learned. They were like, "Oh, well, in the book this happens, in the book this happens, in the book this happens."
They do say that they have gone way off the reservation with the show as comparing it to the book. Like things are a lot different.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and initially people were mad, and I'm like, stop it. They're gonna milk this fucking every drop it has. Same thing Walking Dead. Walking Dead, people were like, "Oh, this isn't like the comics."
I am a season behind. Don't say anything, please.
Oh, I stopped watching The Walking Dead a long time ago.
Okay.
I am not a... And that's another... So let's talk about this too, since we're here. American TV landscape. We literally invented jumping the shark. Jumping the Shark happened on an American TV show that ran too long. Happy Days, for those of you who are younger, right? And Jumping the Shark literally refers to they ran out of stories to write, so it was one where he had to jump literally over a shark tank. And now when you've gone too long, they call it Jumping the Shark, and that's all we do on television in this fucking country of ours. This country, which I love, don't get me wrong, but fuck, man, give it 4 or 5. Breaking Bad ended, right? And it didn't go too long. Breaking Bad ended when it was natural for it to end. Maybe a season or two too long, but not like infinitely long. I mean, you look at a show like Scandal. Scandal literally did a what if episode 2 weeks ago. They did a what if episode, running out of ideas. That's why you kill yourself. Don't, as a show, not as a person with spray and a rock on top of your jacuzzi. That's not what I'm saying. But you get what I'm saying. So I like the idea of stories having an ending. They have to have an end, and when they go too long, terrible. Only terrible things can happen to shows. So fuck shows that run too long, and fuck book readers who try and movie TV shows with us. I'm gonna kill all of your theories. I could look up the wiki. I could look up the wiki if I wanted to. If I wanted all my theories killed. Don't rain on our parade, okay? Don't rain on my parade. That's and I'll be doing a minute movies on Git Gone. Git Gone. Because that's what I do now. I do the minute movies. Also on this channel. Also on Space Chicken on the YouTubes. Tweeters down there. You guys just got.
I'm not going to follow up that.
No, are you sure?
I'm good.
I don't know. I think I might have come off a little douchey.
I feel like yes, you did.
Okay,
But
I came off a little douchey.
I think that everyone who reads gets the point.
Yeah. I'm not saying don't read. You understand? I'm not saying don't read. Please read. Reading is excellent. A good novel is fantastic, and it takes you on a journey. Trust me, when I watched Lord of the Rings, that's not how I picture Legolas. That's not what I saw in my head when I saw Legolas. But I was like, I'm gonna rock with it. It's a movie. What are you gonna do? It's a different thing, and I still went for the ride. See what I'm saying? I didn't turn to them and go, "Don't worry, they're gonna get out of Helm's Deep just fine." I didn't do that to other people. I just enjoyed the film.
Don't worry, the Eagles are going to come.
The goddamn Eagles. All right, we're done. We're done. We'll see you guys for episode 5. Oh, also, I'm sure most of you guys already picked up for a second season. So American Gods is getting a second season. This season's still only 8 episodes long. Last time I checked. So we're halfway through. We're halfway through season 1 with second season already confirmed. Super excited. All right, Space Chicken out.